On his way home from school, the boy was suddenly stopped by a strange and eerie old person. The stranger reached out, wanting to hug him, but the next second, the boy's eyes rolled back. Immediately, the woman lost consciousness. She slowly staggered backward and collapsed headfirst into a car. Seeing this, John felt extremely pleased. He paid no attention to the woman and turned around to go home. More than 10 years ago, a terrible train accident happened in the town. The accident claimed 46 lives. The townspeople were overwhelmed with grief. It was then that they discovered a secret. As long as they hugged John, their pain would disappear. The residents did not care whether these negative emotions would harm John. In order to feel happy, they strictly restricted John's freedom. But what they did not know was that under long-term oppression, John's mind began to twist. One day, a teacher named Jack arrived in the town. Ever since Jack's son died in an accident, he had been drowning in sorrow. The townspeople could not bear to see him so depressed, so they suggested taking him to a magical place. When they finally arrived, they were greeted by John's father.
Ho detto che l'avrei fatta allontanare dal paese domani stesso.
After confirming that Jack was in deep enough pain, he was taken alone into a room. The room was filled with lit candles. A girl in sacred robes personally washed his hands. After the cleansing ritual was completed, Jack walked into the innermost room, and standing there was his own student, John. Jack was confused, but under the priest's guidance, he stepped forward and tightly hugged John. In an instant, Jack felt the pain inside his body being pulled away. In a daze, his deceased son appeared once again. When he woke up the next day, Jack was shocked to find that he could no longer feel pain. So this was the town's secret. Jack found it incredible. But the next moment, he began to worry that these emotions would harm John. So he quietly started to care for him. Jack's actions made John feel warm. One day, John suddenly knocked on Jack's door. He guided Jack to hug him. But this scene was seen by a man. The man's expression instantly changed. He warned Jack that no one was allowed to meet John in private. Then the man tried to forcibly take John away. Jack immediately stepped forward to stop him. While the two were arguing, an accident suddenly occurred.
Non dovevo farlo.
Seeing this, John was deeply shocked. Could it be that he could possess those who had hugged him? To verify his suspicion, John found a woman. When she reached out to hug him, John began to use his power. Seeing the woman collapse into a car as if she had lost her mind, John felt extremely satisfied. After returning home, John began to possess different people. Within their bodies, John enjoyed brief freedom. John wanted to escape this town. He no longer wanted to be the townspeople's emotional trash can. To escape his father's control, John controlled his mother with his consciousness. Seizing this opportunity, he turned around and fled the house. Because of John's refusal, the town fell into chaos. Late that night, a man broke into Jack's home. He told Jack that his family had also died in the accident. Back then, he went to John to solve the problem, but discovered that anyone who touched John would be marked, and then John could enter their bodies and control everything. The man's words made Jack extremely uneasy. Thinking about the town's abnormalities, Jack chose to believe him. To avoid being controlled by John, the man tied Jack to a chair and forced him to speak about the source of his pain. Under his pressure, Jack once again relived the pain of losing his son. Seeing Jack's grief, the man tightly held Jack in his arms and told him that as long as he remembered the pain, John would not be able to control him. At that moment, John suddenly arrived. He begged Jack to take him in. Seeing John in such a miserable state, Jack softened, but just as he hid John, John's father barged in. Facing the dominant man, Jack fell silent. He watched as John was taken away. John was forcibly tied to a chair to face the crazed townspeople. But the next second, the crowd suddenly froze. John's father stood there in shock. Then everyone collapsed to the ground and began twitching rhythmically. At this moment, John also became extremely aged. His body seemed dead, but his consciousness grew powerful. Now he could control everyone. Under his control, his father and the priest who had oppressed him died one after another. But the townspeople were not freed by their deaths. John refused to forgive them. He turned everyone into his puppets. When Jack saw John again, he was already extremely weak. Jack begged John to spare the townspeople, but John refused. At this moment, Jack's companion placed his hand on John's neck, ready to personally end the town's suffering. But just as he acted, painful gasps echoed around them. Jack softened and covered his ears. In the end, Jack saved John, but left himself trapped in the town forever. One resident after another gathered around. They forcibly hugged Jack at the center. John could not bear to let go of his only warmth. At this moment, redemption and pain coexisted. Time in the town seemed to be frozen forever at this moment.